Welcome back to The Edge. The headlines we're watching today. Car dealership inventory is now a search result. There's no more Q&A from Google My Business, and Google product review update from Glenn Gabe. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of April 26, 2021 here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
You know, I got to get the deep voice guy to do our headlines. I bet we would just explode in downloads. Yeah, like a movie trailer, right?
I love it.
I mean, we could literally do it. Car dealership inventory, now a search result. No more Q&A. I mean, we could do that. We have the talent. We
I
can
like
make
it better
happen.
when you did it.
In a time where Google product reviews. All right, this is Edge of the Web. I'm your host.
You're a deep voice guy this whole time?
No. Well,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hold back anymore. I know you didn't introduce me yet.
No, and for good reason, Morty. I mean, come on.
Hi, I'm Mordy Oberstein, the SEO liaison at Wix.
Oh, mute him. This is Edge of the Web. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks. That's Morty. Okay, and Jacob's behind the screen. Jacob, say hi. I guess we're not following protocol today.
Sure. We got lower thirds for all of us. See,
Yep.
there was yours, and we can come over here to me, and I can hit that button there, and now everyone knows my name.
There.
Yeah.
Yep,
Here.
there you
We'll
go.
show Morty in a minute.
Fantastic. And no podcast listener can understand what the hell we're doing.
I know.
Sorry, guys. Go check the video out.
Finally entertaining.
So we are recording a little bit late in the day here on Monday, and we got Morty here at 10:30 at night in Jerusalem, so he's getting a little bit punchy. So we're on the mute button now, just hovering over to see what the hell's going to transpire here. Every week we bring you amazing guests to talk with and to listen to and talk about trending digital marketing topics that are happening. Each week we're covering SEO and digital marketing news separate from our weekly interview. So we're getting more news out to you as quickly as we can. So be sure to check out all the recent shows and the news over at edgeofthewebradio.com. We're dropping this news podcast each and every Tuesday as early as we can get it to you. So with that, the entire show is actually presented by Site Strategics. This is the Site Strategics Digital Marketing News Desk of Edge of the Web. And yes, joining me on this beloved show today is Mordy Oberstein, SEO liaison at Wix. See, I can introduce with a level of dignity and grace here, as opposed to trying to jam into my own intro of my show.
Don't be a piece of cyber driftwood.
Wow, now he's even grabbing that.
He just ended the show. Let me run the exit music. We're done.
There's some intellectual property rules that are just flying out of here. Okay, Morty, what's going on? He's crying.
I'm tired.
Morty's tired.
Thank you, guys. First off, I want to thank the staff at Edge of the Web and as sponsored by Site Strategics.
Wow.
For moving this podcast later so I can attend my child's parent-teacher conferences. Very stimulating meeting.
Yeah, how'd that go?
A bunch of educators. Wonderful. Not cliched at all. It's great. Well,
you're on a first-name basis with the teacher, right? No?
Yeah, well, in Israel, it's like much less formal.
Right.
I don't even know her last name, the teacher. I only know her first name. I'm like a terrible parent.
You really don't know your teacher's last names. That could be anybody.
Right.
Fantastic.
I don't really care. Whatever. School year's almost over.
All righty. Well, hopefully that went well, and not a problem. We could always adjust for you here, as long as you don't usurp my command. I mean. There are certain rules, all right?
Was that an SEO joke? Usurp.
Hey, yep, you got it. Yep. So he's on it. All right, so I got I won't even say that. Let's look at our first article before anything else. Over at Search Engine Land, Barry Schwartz tees up an article for as Google local car dealership inventory search results are actually presenting now. Google seems to be getting into the local car inventory space with new search results. So if you actually search, if you go to google.com/local/cars, asterisk, we caught a 404 right now, so we're not actually seeing that. But Morty's seeing it fine over in Jerusalem. So
yeah, weird, right?
Very weird. But we got some screenshots going on here. When you visit google.com/local/cars, you'll see a list of automotive automobile inventory for local dealerships in your area. And there's a couple screenshots there. You can filter the results to show new and used cars, the car brand type, and so on. The filters are not working 100% yet, but it's okay because it seems to be something that Google's testing and working on right now. Now, there was an announcement of this a little earlier than what Barry's talking about here, but it certainly has got a full head of steam here, and we saw some screenshots from Jerusalem that looks great over here in the U.S.
The irony is I'm looking at cars in California. Like they're 7,500 miles away from me.
And I can't get it on our browser. We actually changed our networks and what have you. So Lord knows, maybe Indiana's just not local car newsworthy. But the cool thing is, as we dug into where it was getting its data, we had all the photos, as well as a full featured list of all the features. And so we investigated it, and it's not getting it from its feed, it's getting it from schema on the pages themselves, as well as kind of a mashup of a screen scrape from certain websites, right? So we were doing a little bit of testing before the show.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, for sure, all these car dealerships, generally speaking, have a very similar page structure. Mm-hmm. So it seems like Google's very much aware that there's this general structure that auto dealers tend to follow.
Right.
And it's just scraping out the information. I mean, there's one where you're showing it right now, I think, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a ton of additional features. And it just pulled it right off the page. So ABS, AM, FM stereo, all-wheel drive, adaptive cruise control, blah, blah, blah. There's a ton of information here, and then it has key features. This is amazing.
Yeah, it really is rich.
Key features for the car about, it has Bluetooth, brake assist, heated seats. They look almost like the attributes you'll see in the local panel. There they are.
Yeah.
If you're listening, or sorry, if you're watching this on YouTube. So they have an icon and they have a description. So blind spot alert, blah, blah, blah. And this is not because it's on the page necessarily. Mm-hmm. This is because for this car, this kind of car, these are the features that are, I'm reading it right off the page here. These features are displayed based upon their popularity in Google searches, and they are not the same. We tested it before the show. Yeah. They are not the same for all cars.
Yep. So it's actually in that dashboard of different icons is not anywhere on the dealership's website. So it has its own association of images, not the car images, but all that entire dashboard of Bluetooth icons, what have you. So it's doing its own build based on what it reads in the schema, as well as what it reads off that page, as well as what it's reading as good or popular items that everybody's shopping for.
If you're not listed on this thing, when someone does a search,
right,
you don't exist. That's where this is going. This is like, no, it's the Google travel site.
Yep.
Where they offer so much information, so much data,
yep,
so many trends, so really very helpful.
Yep.
Very useful.
Yep.
This is that. And instead of having to jump from website to website, you want to look at a Honda, you want to look at a Toyota, you got to go from website to website. It's all right there.
Dude, if this actually connecting the dots of all the popular items and even the niche as it applies to that particular model or brand, wow, look at what Google's really doing. It's actually pulling all that together, and on top of that, being that personal companion, like we talked about, the Pedro DS podcast just came out, and we certainly talked about what Google's trying to do in that space, from just being the go-to for everything, and this is certainly feeding that particular theorem. So excellent find on that, and watch that. And for car dealership owners that are possibly listening to the show, look at your schema, see whether or not you're actually feeding these results, and look at your own content displaying. If you're actually hiding things with a click more button, you may actually be doing yourself some disservice there, because you're not sharing as much as content as somebody else down the street.
Yes, that's interesting. I wonder if your page format is very, very different than your standard car dealership, if that has any role to play here. I wonder if someone like Greg Gifford or something knows something like that.
I bet it would,
It definitely seems that Google is aware there's a general page structure that these dealerships tend to follow across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Good find. So we're certainly going to be watching that. Can't figure out why we can't see it, though. So maybe they're moving some stuff around, or servers, the interwebs, whatever that is.
Maybe you need an Israeli VPN.
We should have done that actually before the show. It probably is that. Probably is. So you know anybody that you can hook us up with?
I know a couple of guys.
All right. Hey, over at Google My Business, this is from Search Engine Land, from the Barry source again. Google officially dropped Q&A on Google in search results. The Google Question Hub is not affected by this and will remain active according to Google, but they have actually confirmed to Search Engine Land that it's going away, and the QA on Google search on the QA Google search feature. This launched initially in India for searchers there in 2019, and now Google's telling those who submitted questions or answers that it will be going away. Google spokesperson told them that this does not impact the Google Question Hub feature, but this does impact simply the ability for users to contribute answers to the Google search when people submitted questions. Google Questions Hub is a portal for publishers to see questions submitted by searchers and provide answers for those questions by creating new web pages answering those questions. So this has nothing to do with the QA realm of Google My Business. This is the Google questions and answer space where you were able to actually spin up answers. Was this the beginning of a wiki environment? Morty, what do you think?
I mean, this was like a forum. I think it was only live at the Q&A on Google on the search itself. I believe was only live in India. If I'm not mistaken.
Got it.
So I think there was very popular. It was like, imagine having kind of like a Quora on the SERP itself.
Right.
So that's things for them, I guess.
It is. What an interesting test, though. I mean, literally being able to field questions from consumers directly from SERP, right?
Right. I mean, and have the answer show up on the SERP itself. It's funny, I'm curious why they took it away. The hub, though, is still there. And the hub is, I mean, I can't actually access that because it's only in the U.S., India, Nigeria. I could be making that last one up.
So you've got the car, but we've got the hub.
We need to do VPN trading. Yeah.
I'll trade you my car pages for your question hub.
Your car can't go anywhere without the hubs that we have, right? See? Get it? Hub cap? No?
Oh, boy. No one got that.
Dude, I watched Grease all weekend long. My daughter was in Greece here at a high school play, so hubcaps were going all over the place. That's all I can think about. That and some very, very, very off-putting musical numbers. Great numbers, great performance, but boy, have you listened to Grease lately?
I can't say that I have.
Okay, well, we're just going to have to...
I've seen Grease numerous times.
Google it.
All right, there's complete sidebar. See, it's all late in the day, guys, and you're going to be seeing me chase a heck of a lot of rabbits. All right, so we do want to make mention.
Wait, can I snap like Danny Zuko for a second? Okay, we're good. By the way, any John Travolta I ever see is always like Vinnie Barbarino in my head. So in my mind, I imagine Danny Zuko going, "Hey, Mr. Cutter."
Mr. Cutter.
Right.
Morty,
I just totally dated myself.
Morty, will you
Which is
snap
not
for me one
possible
more time?
because
Morty, we're going to have you snap again.
Will you snap for me one more time?
Oh, wow, that was awesome. You just turned the entire Site Strategics banner on. Edge of the Web is brought to you by Site Strategics, the title sponsor of the show. For the listeners at home, you have no idea what we just did, but Morty just snapped our logo into presence right there on the screen. We are the pioneers in agile digital marketing. Our core specialties are SEO, technical SEO, core web vitals optimization, SEM, social media management, and marketing conversion rate optimization, and omni-channel media marketing. Yeah, this is what you're hearing and listening to today. Hearing and listening is the same bloody thing. Anyway, agile marketing, results-based marketing that actually works. If you're interested in what we can do for you, just give us a shout over at 877-SEO for web or 877-736-4932. I've not gotten through a promo for site without actually tripping over that phone number, and we've been doing it for 9 years. How about that? All right.
Honestly, before you came on and I was on the call with Jacob, I'm like, he's going to screw up the phone number today.
Oh, Jesus.
By the way, all the things that Site Strategic does, I know someone, I need to have them email you. Her name is Catherine. She'll be in touch with you. Inside joke.
Inside joke.
Yeah, inside joke.
I don't know. Maybe it's tripping. Maybe she's tripping in my spam filter, Morty.
I'll have her email you again. No problem.
Exactly. All right. Final article. We want to actually spend a little bit of time here talking about Glenn Gabe's article on gsqi.com. He rolled out a kind of a full-fledged review of Google's product review update analysis. And the title of the article is the analysis and findings from a major algorithm update impacting affiliate marketers, review sites, and more. So we covered briefly the product review update here in a I think last show or the show before of our news, and it's been rolling through. April 8th, Google announced the new algorithm update called the Product Reviews Update. The update was designed to review in-depth reviews versus thinner review content, whether it's a single product review or a group of product service reviews, etc. So Glenn has actually been heavily analyzing the update since launch, including impact across different niche categories, content that was impacted, site level findings, and as well as user experience factors across the different sites. So that doesn't give it enough justice here. Morty, what was this Google product review update all about?
So first off, Glenn, can you stick any more keywords into that title? I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
That was awesome.
Glenn is amazing. First off, great man, great SEO, great taste in baseball teams. Big Yankees fan.
Fantastic.
Yes, it is fantastic. The Yankees are awesome. So the product update in a nutshell basically was like, imagine a core update, where Google, a quality update, where Google is basically saying, well, we want really authoritative, really helpful, relevant, trustworthy content to rank, not your affiliate schlock that generally ranked until now, or may have ranked until, I shouldn't say generally, but may have often ranked until now. It needs to be really helpful, really on target, lots of information, lots of nuance, lots of details, lots of takes from multiple perspectives on a product or a set of products, or you won't rank.
Correct.
So if basically you're throwing up, and Glenn has it in there, if you're throwing up, let's say, I saw a case like this where the website threw up a bunch of products, had a CTA, see more, buy now, whatever it is. And then that was the entire above the fold content.
Right.
And then if you eventually scroll down the page, you'll find some could be really decent review content.
Right.
But you have to scroll half a page to get to it because they want you to
buy now.
Buy now.
Right.
Which, by the way, if you go, I understand why you want to list a product, right? You want to show all the products you're going to get to, so then make them jump links. That would be the natural thing to do. So then jump you down to the review, not to an affiliate. So those are the sort of things that Glenn picked up, in terms of what the update went after. If you have, so he had a case where you have a bunch of ads on the page or too many ads on the page. He gave a couple of good examples. One was from the Wirecutter. By the way, Wirecutter does a really good job with their reviews.
Absolutely.
So they'll generally offer, Wirecutter is a New York Times subsidiary. They'll generally explain to you how they calculated their metrics or how they constructed their reviews, what they were looking at, why they were looking at it, and so forth. I did see a really interesting case. And this is why you have to pay attention to this update, because the review niche, or the review, whatever you want to call it, this type of website is such a competitive space. So I saw the Wirecutter go from, let's say, number 1 or number 2 for a keyword to number 8 or 9. Okay. And again, the Wirecutter has some amazing content. It's very, very well thought out, really detailed, really nice content. And it didn't it wasn't like it fell off the entire face of the SERP, so to speak. But it definitely swapped out with another page. And why? Because the Wirecutter didn't have a buying guide or buying tips on it for this particular review. Whereas another website, again, nice, good content. It didn't have what the Wirecutter had in terms of explaining their metrics and how they did the review, but it had a buying guide there. So be very careful. Look what's going on, because this sort of keywords for these sort of sites be very competitive.
Absolutely. And Glenn did an incredible job comparing so many different product review websites and affiliate websites, but looking at all the different factors and displays and comparisons. And he didn't see a unified theme through some of the losers as he was looking at these different websites. So there's much more contextual buy-in that we're seeing at the ranking level for Google evaluating these different pages. So one, that they know that this is an affiliate website. right? And you also know that there's a number of key things that they're expressing that it should have, any review page of a product should have. And there's a red box highlighting Google's blog post about those core updates. I'll just run through them real quick. Does this product review express expert knowledge about the products where appropriate? Right? Does it show what the product is like physically or how it's used with unique content beyond what's provided by the manufacturer? Does it provide quantitative measurements on how a product measures up in various categories of performance? Does it explain what sets a product apart from its competitors? Does it cover comparable products to consider or explain which products might be best for certain uses? Does it discuss the benefits and drawbacks of a particular product based on the research into it? Does it describe how a product has evolved from previous models or releases to provide improvements, address issues, or otherwise help users to make a purchase decision? Does it identify key decision-making factors for the product's category and how the product performs in those areas? Does it also describe key choices and how a product has been designed and their effect on the users beyond what that manufacturer says? I went through that list not to fill time. Literally, this is a list to be able to.
One breath.
I did to actually understand how deep and detailed Google is looking at what you're doing as it applies to consumers' belief of authority that you have. Now, think about this for a second. It's scrutinizing so much on someone. These pages that make money off of these affiliate links. So they're looking at intent, they're looking at authority in this space. They're looking at so much because you're making money off these affiliate links. There's no way they're going to let screen scrapers or a mashup of things happen anymore. So take this further out than just product reviews. Look at site content in general. Look at what it's actually evolving into. They're paying attention to so much more when it comes down to expertise and trust, right? This is a key factor of EAT that we're seeing right here, is that affiliates that thought they could mash up a few bullet points together and make their dimes, right? They're not going to get the time of day. And if it translates into even further beyond product reviews, then there's got to be much more scrutiny on if you're an expert trying to actually assign a particular value about anything that you're doing in your respective space. You better have all that covered as it applies to your industry, right?
And it is. I mean, that's what the core updates are.
Yep.
And it's funny that you see it here, but this is what people who have been looking at the core updates have been talking about since March 2018, or really August 2018 when the medic update came out.
Yep.
This is exactly what they've been talking about. Google's getting really profiling the content on their page, taking it from multiple perspectives, going really deep into it. I've been saying this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a soapbox, and I will say it again. Everything that Google does, not everything, but everything that Google does, from the way it constructs the SERP these days to what it's doing algorithmically, is telling you to create highly detailed, highly nuanced, very specific content.
Yep.
Which means that you have to be prolific. You have to write content that is substantial.
That's right. That's right.
And if people will take this, and I know especially affiliate marketers, don't get on my case for calling you out, and SEOs, oh, this is the death of affiliate marketing. No, it's not. It's the death of you doing crappy writing for your affiliate pages.
Absolutely. And on top of that, and the sheer fact that was this the last corner of this type of spam use? No, of course not. But it is a harbinger of what's to come for all of our content. If you're going to publish something, an opinion, if you're going to be publishing comparison data, you better have everything backed up and show how you got to that opinion, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, you take it from the perspective of the user. Yeah. And I know, like, they might be used to looking at very thin affiliate kind of content.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not just spammy people. CNET got hit. Actually, there's an article Barry Schwartz did maybe a week or so ago, showing from the different tool providers. Mm-hmm. And rather, Glenn points this out in the article. One tool provider showed CNET going up and gaining visibility. Another showed them going down. And Glenn points this out. And Google actually talked about this. A site can have multiple types of pages that are profiled differently by Google. So let's say CNET has news content. That content can be great.
Yep.
Its review content is sometimes really thin. It just throws a bunch of, in one case that I saw, it threw a list of products and it showed how much savings you could get for each product by clicking on the button next to it.
Yeah, at that point in
So
time, yeah, then it's not
that's
passing.
not helpful.
It's not passing the sniff test. Now the question is, do those if Google's actually paying attention to different types of content on any given site, do those pages actually detract or demerit the high performing content as well? If you're not paying attention to that area of the site, even though you have some strong performers over here, could that? I mean, we've always talked about a rising tide lifts all boats. Well, very much. The difference here is if they're pulling the drain on your comparison data, your product review data, are you also going down the drain as well?
Right. So I mean, Google, John Mueller said that for sites they can sort of differentiate out.
Yep.
And I would imagine in a case like CNET, where it's a pretty substantial site and they have a lot of good content, and Google will say, okay, so for this kind, I've seen this a million times over. This content bad, forget it. We're going to kill you here. This content's fine. I would imagine on a site that's not as authoritative,
right,
that's a problem, and or a site that Google's not as familiar with, that's a problem. And I do think that it does raise a flag to Google, because hey, look, you couldn't go and hide a register here. You could go from a user. Google knows this, can go from a news page to a review page, and that's a very bad experience. Going from, the experience of the news page might be great, but the review page might be terrible, and that's not a good experience. So it's definitely something that I would imagine Google considers. It may not in the end be a factor that diminishes your rankings in a case like CNET for your good content, but to me, it's definitely raising a question in Google's mind. And you don't want them raising that question, because if you're a site that's not as authoritative as CNET in general, you probably will get
you're doomed
to whatever extent.
Yeah, exactly. Highly recommend you look at Glenn Gabe's article. I mean, all things being equal,
Glenn's amazing.
I mean, Glenn's actually practicing what we're talking about right here in this article. Is there's such a depth of analysis. I mean, he actually gives the entire table of contents up front and right off the bat here, and he goes through has like 20 key points of what they evaluated, the frequency, the discovery impact, analysis and findings, review content quality. He's literally doing exactly what we're talking about that these product review pages should. He actually reviewed and showed exactly how he got to the analysis that he did. And that should be the quality of content that we're seeing online now, right?
Yeah, that's a big investment, because look, Glenn does this for every single update. Not every single, but the core updates, the major updates, Glenn will do this. So he's familiar with the particular issue here, because he's dived through it, and he's dived through so many updates that he understands the way that it's a lot of investment.
Yeah.
And that's what you should be doing. Be like Glenn.
Be like Glenn.
Be a Yankees fan.
All right. Who you should also be like? All the other members on the SEO chat, hashtag SEO chat on Twitter, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays. So there's your setup. What are we going to be talking about?
Every week we have the perfect segue into SEO chat. This week, we're talking about SEO guides.
Ooh.
Which are enough to make you want to vomit in your mouth when you hear the word SEO guide. Wow, because I'm thinking of so many people who make them and they're so terrible. But
we just did see a really nice technical SEO guide towards Core Web Vitals that was on Search Engine.
That's true.
We just tweeted that out. So notwithstanding.
No, they're not all bad. Some of them are really good.
All right.
And Shia Ponan is going to be hosting this week, talking about it's sort of like a workshop. What do you think should go into a good SEO guide? What makes a good one? What makes a bad one?
Cool.
What makes good content, like Glenn Gabe's content?
Absolutely. We should probably go back in time and see all the top 10 or all the SEO guides of past and seeing how terrible some of those things were.
I give you some websites if you want.
Yeah, we'll throw those things in the chat. So it was a merry old chat this last week. Yeah, we were there. Yeah.
Well, that's right. You were there. We were there. It was a good one about SEO failures.
It really was, and some really good takeaways. So the cool thing is that you can go back and see that chat as it happened. Nothing's getting deleted, so go look at some of that. It was a great conversation and some really, really interesting takes on not only fails, but what are the responsibilities of SEOs when a fail happens, right? So lessons learned and this, that, and the other. So. Great.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, great story and a good narrative. You also have a SEO Open Mic that happens every Wednesday as well. We want to make sure that people know that.
Right. Yeah, got a lot going on. By the way, to take a look at the Twitter chat, all you need to do is go to Twitter, go to the search field, type in hashtag SEO chat, click latest, and you can scroll. There'll be some like random SEO chat things that people tweet out that nothing to do with the chat.
Yep.
But you'll see it when you scroll through and go back in the history. All that's there. Yeah, Open Mic SEO. Open Mic SEO happens on Clubhouse, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays. This week, we are talking to the godfather of SEO, Barry Schwartz himself, the godfather of SEO. Horses' heads will be there. Godfather. What are we talking about, by the way, Barry? I'm not really sure. I'm like, hey, Barry, I want to talk about it. Hey, whatever. I'm like, so we'll talk about whatever. SEO trends. Come talk. By the way, the whole idea of Open Mic SEO is I hated Clubhouse.
Yep.
Because you went in there, you're stuck listening to these people. You raise your hand, no one calls on you. You're stuck listening to these morons go on and on and on. So no, let's make it equitable. Come to SEO chat. When you pop in, I can come to SEO chat. Come to Open Mic SEO.
Right.
If I see you pop in, sometimes I don't see it, but if I see you pop in, I will invite you to come up and speak. Automatically.
Yeah, I had a mouthful of pastrami sandwich, and he says, "Hey, Sparks, get in
You
here."
were there last week.
Yeah, it was.
I was trying to generate conversation.
Maybe Barry would talk to us if we get on Open Mic with him. Maybe that could be it.
You have to address him as Godfather, though.
I will.
This is your one shot.
This is my one shot.
He might not ever talk to you again.
You come to me on the day of my Clubhouse.
Oh, that ought to be good. All right. Thank you, Morty. I appreciate your insight and constantly jumping in here with us and tearing up the news. We wish you adieu, and we'll be talking to you next week, Morty. So thanks so much.
Again, thanks for having me, and thanks for being so flexible. I really do appreciate it.
Not a problem. That's it for Edge News this week. Make sure that you listen to the second part of our Pedro Diaz podcast. Check out the first one as well, because I had a really good time talking about the dominion of Google and what the responsibilities of your content should be. Well, at least your site should be. So check that out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updated when we go live next or when we premiere our show content. From all of us over at Edge, stay safe, stay well, and my line, do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.